the cameras are secretly recording. Jungkook and Jimin don't realize the world is watching. The Seoul sky that night seemed ordinary, without a light show, without a concert crowd, without a crowd of cheering fans. But who would have thought that, behind the silence of that quiet night, a silent recording was going on? A hidden camera belonging to HYB's in-house documentation team captured a rare, pure, and honest moment between two BTS members, Jungkook and Jimin. They don't know that the world is watching. Maybe that's why everything feels so real. The footage was not initially released to the public. Only part of the internal archive was used to compile the documentary titled BTS, The Unspoken Nights. But due to one upload error on the pre-access server for the editor, a 4-minute fragment of the video was leaked to the public. There is no stage action, no music, there is no scenario dialogue. Just two figures sitting on a small balcony of a Tokyo hotel late at night, illuminated by city lights and exhausted shadows hanging in the AIR. I end the video. Jungkook sits propped up on a rattan chair, wearing a thin black t-shirt and random hair left loose. Jimin, in a loose sweater and shorts, sat on the floor with his head against the wall. There were no long conversations, just pieces of quiet voices that didn't even sound clear. But their expressions tell more than enough. At one point, Jimin looked up at the sky and said, "It's funny, yes, we can be world famous, but still feel alone." Jungkook didn't answer. He turned to Jimin, his eyes searching for something missing. Moments passed in silence. Then, in an almost whispered voice, Jungkook said, "Maybe it's because what we're looking for is not cheers, but people who stay when all the noise is gone." And that moment, just 2 sentences, has subverted the defenses of millions of hearts around the world. The video went viral in a short time. Army across platforms shared it with great emotion. Many said they had never seen Jimin and Jungkook that honest. Not as an idol, not as a global icon, but as two human beings who take care of each other in silence. But what surprised not only the content of the video, but the reaction of the fans, not with hysteria, not with an invasion of privacy, but with a full awareness of the value of silence and sincerity. Some time later, HYB released a statement that the video was not planned for public consumption. But they also admit that the warm reaction from fans is proof that the most touching stories do not need a script. But Jimin and Jungkook themselves? They haven't said anything directly yet. There is no clarification, no uploads. There is no official statement. They remained silent, and that's where the world began to learn to understand that not all stories need words. One of HYB's documentary editors, who did not want to be named, even said, "We've edited thousands of hours of BTS footage over the years, but only a few moments make the whole room silent when played. That night is one of them." He added, "It's not about love or drama. It's about two people who, despite sitting in silence, speaking more honestly than anyone who is being interviewed." Many fans later linked the moment to the lyrics of their previous songs. One of them is the lyrics in the song 0 Clock, which suddenly became popular again. "I want to be comforted too, I want to touch someone's handy, want to be held tight even though I worked so hard today." Now, the lyrics feel like an echo from the heart recorded that night. And interestingly, a few days after the viral video, BTS's official Spotify account updated the playlist, Midnight Comfort, and added an instrumental track titled Still Us, with the composer recorded as JKXPJM. No vocals, just piano and wind noise. The song made many soldiers cry, because ostensibly, Jimin and Jungkook are saying, "We may not talk, but we're here." Together, perhaps the world shouldn't have watched that moment. But when he is revealed accidentally, the world also learns something that rarely happens, that even idols need space to feel tired, confused, fragile, and listened to in silence. That night, the camera became a witness not of a performance, but of a silence that could not be made up. Jungkook and Jimin had no idea that they were being recorded. Perhaps therefore, for the first time, they are not trying to be anything. Only two souls who met amid the fatigue of life and remained to accompany each other, The days after the video went viral were filled with silence that spoke the loudest. There was no overreaction from Jungkook or Jimin. There are no selfie uploads or long notes on Weverse. There was no attempt to calm the public nor any clarification. There is only calm. And from the calm, the fans learned one important thing. Not everything has to be spoken, because there is a language that can only be understood by those who know each other in silence. But even if they don't speak, the world doesn't stop listening. Fans from different countries began writing open letters to Jimin and Jungkook. Some of them were published in the online media, containing thanks for being human as they are. One of the most shared letters came from a Brazilian army. You may not realize the world watched that night, but we saw something more than just pictures. We see two people who once fell, once lost their way, but still chose to sit side by side under the same sky. And that's more courage than any great concert. The letter was translated into more than 12 languages, and it was even read by a Japanese radio announcer in a midnight show discussing BTS's emotional influence on the younger generation. Then a surprise appeared. Without promotion and without announcement, BTS's official account on YouTube uploaded a 7-minute video titled, "When No One Was Watching." The video does not show anything sensational. Only the sound of the sea, the distant lights of the city, and a cut of a slow-motion clip from the same night. Jimin, who breathed a long breath, Jungkook, who closed his eyes while listening to the sound of the wind, and one moment where they looked at each other and smiled a little. No words, just a picture, just honesty. The end of the video shows only one sentence, engraved on a black screen. Sometimes, the truest moments happen when we stop performing. And the world, again, is silent. Shortly after, Jimin returned to social media with the first upload after a long vacuum. A simple photo, a pair of shoes placed side by side in front of the balcony door. The morning sun shines on both of them warmly. Short captions, "Still walking together." A few hours later, Jungkook uploaded an IG story containing a photo of a cloudy night sky with text, "Even clouds don't stay forever." For those who don't follow the story, maybe it's just an ordinary upload. But for the army who watched that night, who listened to every second of the honesty that was captured on silent cameras they knew, this is the answer. Not with words, but with symbols. With a presence that never really goes away. Behind the scenes, HYB's documentation team began to piece together pieces of those moments into a larger project. Named The Silence Project, this documentary is not about performance, not about tight schedules, not about popularity, but about the small spaces that have so far rarely shown. Tired spots, guilt, and understanding are born not of dialogue, but of constant existence. An editor of the project leaked in a closed interview. The most touching thing about the video is not that they didn't know it was being recorded, because even if they don't know, they remain the best version of themselves. And that's what ultimately makes the moment so precious, because it's not made up, night after night passed. But the influence of the moment did not disappear. Many fans wrote how the video helped them make peace with themselves. Some say they no longer feel alone. Others say they're starting to appreciate silence, starting to understand that not all relationships have to be crowded to be meaningful, and that's where the real power of the Stealthy video is not because it opens secrets, but because it opens eyes. About the depth of unspoken love. About how powerful closeness is that doesn't need public validation. And about how wonderful honesty is present not to be shown, but to be found by anyone patient enough to listen to the silence. Jungkook and Jimin don't know the world is watching. But the world is grateful that they are unconscious, because it is from that unconscious that we all see the truth. And when the camera silently captures the moment, the world is witnessing not just two global idols, but two human beings who are learning to keep each other company, even when the world looks away. And to this day, the night lives on in the hearts of those who know that even silence can touch deeper than words, and for many, it is more beautiful than any stage end. Spotlight, because sometimes, when you don't realize the world is watching, you show who you really are.